Is muted. As you guys are joining us, please,
Our mic is
please.
unmuted, right?
Yeah, we're unmuted. As you guys are tapping into the IG live, please leave us a thumbs up.
Sorry.
Let YouTube know that we are live. I am sending this out to our community too. What's going on, guys? If you are joining us on Instagram, you need to be on YouTube. You literally need to be on YouTube. We are going live with Francis. We're going to let people get some time to tap in. While they're tapping in, we want to make sure that you guys can hear us and see us fine. So drop a yes in the chat if you can hear us and see us okay. Drop a yes in the chat. We know y'all can see us and hear us on Instagram. We want to know if YouTube, drop a yes in the chat if you can hear us and see us okay. We know Instagram be seeing us and hearing us. We appreciate y'all showing up. We are on YouTube live. Yep. Also, let us know where you're from. Drop your city and state in the comments, too. We want to know. And if you are CBU, if you're an alum or a student, well, once you're done, you're an alum, but drop CBU, Cleaning Business University, in the chat. Just drop CBU so we can know who we are talking to. We asking you how to do a lot, right? It's always a lot. That's the purpose, man. You got to have that engagement. We got to make sure we are talking to each other. It's not just a one-way chat. Minneapolis waiting for the blizzard. Sorry to hear that. CBU, okay.
There's a blizzard happening?
Well, Minneapolis.
Sorry to hear that as well. Didn't know that at all.
All right, we got some CBU students in the house. What's good, y'all? What's good? If you are on Instagram, you need to be on YouTube because the visuals on YouTube are just different.
And we're able to communicate back and forth. But what time is it? 7:02. Ready to jump in?
Of course.
So we are here today, and we have tons of amazing students, and we're going to continue to interview tons of our amazing students. But today we are here to speak with Francis, as he did 200K in under a year. You heard that correct. We was marketing. It was a year. It was really under a year. So we're just here to ask those questions about how it happened, how it made him feel, what helped them, what didn't work, and just share the story with everyone. As Anthony mentioned, we're mostly focusing on YouTube, so we suggest tapping in there so you can at least comment and do all that good stuff. So
yes, hit that like button too on YouTube. Hit that like button, which is the thumbs up button. It lets YouTube know, hey, we are live right now, and it helps with the analytical stuff. So without further ado, we'll be letting Francis into the chat. Hopefully it works. There we go. What's going on, sir?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Good. Thank you for coming on. I know it's not always easy because we have people that turn us down. So we appreciate you spending your Tuesday evening with us and our followers and our students to share your story.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward to it.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, yeah, we always start with this. We want to know a little bit about your background, where you're from, city and state, that type of stuff, so our viewers can know, all right, he's just like me. He's doing the same things I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And
to add to that, everybody always thinks it's something completely separate. And then our students come on and say, yeah, this is what I do. So go ahead, share your story, who you are and where you're from.
Mm-hmm. So I was actually born in New York City. I know you guys are from Brooklyn, but I was raised in Monmouth County, New Jersey, right in central New Jersey. My whole life. Went to college at Virginia Tech. Spent 4 years there. I also worked for the basketball team there, which kind of led me to Ole Miss in Mississippi, where I spent 2 years there as a graduate assistant. And then post Ole Miss, I started kind of my career in accounting and doing tax work. My mom was a CPA, so the CPA was kind of always something on my radar. So I started the CPA. When I was finishing up my MBA at Ole Miss, and then went into my professional career in tax and been doing that for a little over 2 years now.
2 years. So it's a busy season right now, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. It's starting to pick up a lot. Tax returns are coming in and going out quickly.
Yeah, you mentioned your mom being a CPA and you following that direction. You don't hear that a lot. Usually people don't want to follow the directions of their parents because you probably saw your mom during these busy seasons and you're like, I ain't doing that. So what made you want to be a CPA?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because that was my exact thought process, watching her pull all-nighters and working all the time because her office was actually, it still is, in the home I grew up in. So we would,
Mhm.
I like to say I grew up in accounting and taxes. Um, but yeah, I always told her I don't want to do what you do. I don't want to do what you do. And actually, my senior year in high school, I took an accounting class, and I did really well in the class, and it just made sense to me. Numbers kind of always made sense to me, and it's one of those classes that I didn't really have to study, and I did really well in it. So then I ended up majoring in accounting in college, and my goal kind of in college was to be a college basketball coach. So that was kind of my dream, but that kind of changed and kind of I pivoted more into the business side. Just I mean, college sports is a business, but just seeing the business side there, I kind of pivoted and knew I kind of want to go the business side as well, and that's kind of why I followed that path.
Virginia Tech is a big basketball. I mean, big sports school. So I can see why you got there. You're like, I definitely want to do the sports thing. Were you? You said you were working on the business side of this of the team. Like, what were you doing with them?
Yeah, so I kind of did a little bit of everything. More so when I was at Ole Miss, I was helping kind of with operations,
Okay.
logistics, and travel and budgets and team meals and kind of little bit of everything. But yeah, like I was saying, it is definitely a business. With planes, buses, meals. There's definitely a lot of logistics and operations day in and day out involved in college athletics.
So you managed. You were working with the team while you were in college. Like, was that fun at all, or was it all business? Because from my perspective, I see that I'm like, they get to go to all the events, and they get the food, and they get the travel, and they get to be on
Yeah.
ESPN. So was it like that, or was it completely different from what we see on TV?
I would say it's both. There's obviously good sides and bad sides to all of it. The coach
Yeah.
I work for is actually at Texas A&M now, and I know you all are in Texas. So
Yep.
he's at Texas A&M now. But he was a manager at a junior college, and he worked his way up to now being the head coach at Texas A&M. So he kind of treated his managers differently. He gave them a lot of responsibility. So it was definitely like a full time job. And waking up early, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning,
Oh yeah,
and it
that's
was a
not
grind. Yeah, with the
fun.
full workload. But don't get me wrong. I mean, the relationships built were awesome. Traveling around the country was awesome. So yeah, there's good and bad.
Okay. And what year did you said then you went to Ole Miss? What year did you graduate Ole Miss?
So I graduated Virginia Tech 2019, and then I was at Ole Miss for about 2 years. So I graduated a semester early. This is when COVID hit. So I guess it was winter right before 2020, going into 21, is when I graduated from Ole Miss with my MBA.
Oh, cool. So, yes, sir? Oh, I'm gonna jump in and go for the questions really about the course and the business that you're running on top of your 9 to 5. So, when did you get the course, and what made you decide to get the course? The CPAs, I don't know exact salaries, but it seems that they do well for themselves. So, what made you get the course?
hmm So actually, after I kind of finished the CPA, or before I finished the CPA, I was kind of looking at side hustles, and I heard your guys' podcast about side hustles versus businesses. But yeah, I was trying to find a side hustle just to kind of bring more income in, and I was on a car ride with my girlfriend, and we came across, I think it was the Side Hustle podcast, and they had you all on, and I was like, that's pretty neat. That sounds cool. Like I think I could do that. And then I listened to the podcast that I think you all heard from another gentleman, and listened to that one as well. So I followed you guys, I want to say, on Instagram, saw you had the course. And after I finished my CPA in October of 21, took the course, ran with it, did the whole course, got my website up kind of the end of that year, and kind of hit the ground running beginning of 2022.
So October 21 to December 21 is what took you. So how long it took you to get your website up and running, find someone for the job, and then did you get your first job in December 21 or in January 22?
So January 6th, and we actually didn't have a contractor yet.
Oh,
So it was actually my girlfriend and I showing up to clean. I think it was a pretty decent sized house. We were both working, both work from home, full time jobs. So we brought our laptops and everything. We're on our hotspots off our phone, thinking, oh, we'll be done. I'm telling her we'll be done, 4 or 5 hours. It's an empty house, it can't be that bad. and we were there for 10 hours, ran out of like supplies, ran out of the stuff in the mop. So yeah, it's definitely, I'm glad that did happen because it gave me appreciation for kind of the work the work at hand and kind of how hard it is. But yeah, that was kind of our first clean. I would say, like you said, the course was about 3 months, but a majority of that for me was just kind of getting the website up and running and getting it kind of how I wanted it before I submitted it. I would say that's kind of what took the most time.
How did it make you feel when you got that first client? Was it like you on the phone? Was it they booked you online? How did that make you feel? So I know some people kind of get skeptical and they're like, oh, does this actually work? So how did it make you feel when you
Yeah,
got that first client?
yeah. Like we weren't even advertising or really like pushing to get clients because, like I said, we didn't even have a contractor. But we had the Google My Business profile and they found us through there and booked us, and it was a move out clean. So I want to say it was like $400. So I was like, wow, like you said, this does work, this can work. So it was just kind of first like oh crap, we're gonna have to show up and clean, but it was also cool saying that all that work on the website and everything, paid off, and we showed up to the clean. And we're walking around the house, and the guys telling us like, "This isn't too bad. You guys probably see way worse." And me and my girlfriend like, "Oh yeah, we've seen worse." We're
They have
faking
no
it.
idea.
Yeah, we're faking it till we make it, pretty much. But yeah, it was definitely rewarding.
And how many jobs did you guys end up doing together, or was that the only one?
So we did that one, and then we had another clean kind of closer to us, that we had our contractor, and this is kind of when we were like over the top. So we were texting her, calling her, and she wasn't answering. We finally got a hold of her, and we woke her up, and she was kind of like didn't know, like she thought it was the morning, and she thought she missed it, and she was kind of like an hour away, and this was already kind of like an hour into her arrival window. So we're like, we can just, we're just gonna show up and clean. And this house actually was a lot better. It was actually, really clean to begin with. So my girlfriend and I went in there, cleaned up place, and she signed up for, I want to say, tri-weekly. So we did her place, I think, twice, and then eventually handed it off to our contractor.
Tri-weekly meaning you clean her home 3 times a week?
No, meaning every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks. Okay, got it.
Hmm.
Got it. So you guys only did 2 jobs and then you got a contractor in.
For that one, we did a total. It might have been 3 jobs. We showed up to,
Okay.
actually, one of the jobs we showed up to was kind of like a hoarder situation. We walked in there and there was bugs and stuff crawling all over the place. So we actually rejected that clean. So that was
Okay.
another good story. But we did, I want to say, either 3 or 4 cleans, and then we eventually handed it off.
Okay, I was about to say a hoarder situation for someone that doesn't clean. That's a big that's a big take on.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to know what was your girlfriend saying with all this? You told her that you're starting a cleaning business. I'm assuming you told her, well, I'm gonna hire people so we won't need to clean. What did she say? Because I know how I would react. What did she say during this time?
Yeah, she was supportive of it,
Oh,
I
nice.
would say. But skeptical. I wanted to continue to clean that home because I think we were making, I don't remember, $150, and I'm like, that not the first clean, but the tri-weekly clean I was saying, that she kept her house in great shape. So I'm like, that's 100% going to us. We should just keep doing it. But yeah, we ended up handing it off. But overall, she was supportive of it
Okay.
and definitely helped me along the way.
Did you do any businesses or any? I know your mom owned her business or owns her business, but did you have any experience in owning a business before this?
No, not any hands-on with my own business. No, I did not.
So what made you feel like, all right, this is something that I could do being your first business?
Hmm. I mean, the course was definitely helpful because you guys give it step by step, give the whole foundation. So that gave me more confidence because I had a blueprint to follow. But I would say I'm a fairly confident person and confident in myself. And I kind of, my mom being owning her own business, and my dad had his own law practice as well. Kind of the entrepreneur in me kind of wanted, my own business. And like I said, I was looking for a side hustle, and it was a side hustle, but now it's turning, more into a business.
Hmm. And how did you get the capital to start the business? Because we tell people how much they need, and people kind of don't believe it. So, how did you find the money to start it up?
What was your total startup cost, do you think?
Yeah, I would say I got this question the other day on LinkedIn. What how much do you need to start up? And I looked back and kind of what I spent in the first year. I would say less than $1,000 startup cost really. Um, so just I mean I got that just through my regular 9 to 5 job.
Okay.
So you didn't have like any investors, any big hedge fund managers, or I'm telling you the stuff we hear all the time. So you literally, took it out your pocket. You're like, I'm gonna start this business, and it was less than $1,000. And I know for some people, it'd be like, all right, $1,000. And you spent all that at once, or was it like over time?
hmm No, definitely over time. So started with launch 27, and they have the monthly fee. So I would say that was the majority of it. Having a phone service. Like getting cleaning supplies. It is really low startup. Building the website, getting the domain. But like I said, it would all in. I would say definitely less than 1,000, and it could even be $800 or $700 or less if you time up launch 27 to when you actually start.
So you turned $1,000 startup cost to over 200K in revenue in a year. Now we always say that return sounds absolutely nuts, but this is literally from you. You did it. So kudos to you. I don't think we asked you, where's your cleaning business located?
So we started in Brevard County, kind of the Space Coast, right near Kennedy Space Center, in Cocoa Beach. We just started in Brevard County, and recently we expanded. Late last year, we expanded to 3 counties, and recently now we're in 10 counties. But I guess home base is here in Brevard County in Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Is how far is that to like Miami or Orlando? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, so Cocoa
Before,
Beach is Cocoa Beach is an hour east of Orlando, directly at the beach. Miami's about 3 hours south.
Okay. So
And so yeah,
Orlando is your closest one.
say that again. Sorry.
Orlando would be like your closest big city.
Yeah, so that's where I just moved my, Google My Business profile because it kind of gives me a more central location because Orlando's right in the middle, and obviously the market there is bigger. So that's kind of where I'm pushing to grow more now is in Orlando.
Okay. And
I was say Orlando seems like a lot of vacations or like
Disney.
Airbnbs and stuff like that. Do you find yourself doing any of those, or do you like what's your main focus in your cleaning business?
Yeah, so we're strictly residential. I would say majority, well, I would say probably 90% just regular residential, 10% Airbnbs.
Okay.
Um, So I really I like Airbnbs, but at the same time they're kind of a hassle because everyone wants the lowest price and obviously it's their business too, so they're very on top of it. So it's a lot of back and forth, but I would say it's about 90-10. We used to give a discount to Airbnbs because, like I said, it's recurring cleans for them, but now we're kind of not giving discounts for Airbnbs just because it seems a little bit more of a hassle, at least for us, because like we're pretty much managing the property for them and having to realize if this is broken or we're missing this, or and then doing laundry on site. So it's a lot of extra layers to it.
Yeah.
Do you see any point of expansion to doing Airbnbs at some point?
Maybe I think with contractors is a little tougher because you have
Mhm.
to require kind of on site. But if I had like where I've seen the business model where you can kind of you full on go on and actually full on property manager, and you supply everything. So the people who own the actual Airbnb are just giving you their home, and then you supply all the sheets, all the toiletries, all the soaps, and everything. So I would say if I went the employee route eventually, maybe just having like a warehouse where they could go to and pick up all those supplies. But in the contractor model, I kind of like it the way I kind of have it going, which is strictly the people that live in the home, strictly residential, and they want their home cleaned and not the vacation rental or Airbnb side.
Got it. And where did you find that you found the most clients, or where do you find, because that's another thing that people say they're not finding clients. So where do you market to find these people to continue to book you?
hmm So I would say I kind of got lucky in the area I started. It's a smaller beach town, so there wasn't a ton of cleaning companies here.
Okay.
So that was super helpful. But the first 3 months we were in business, we only had, I think, like 25 cleans, maybe 5K in total revenue the first 3 months. Tried Thumbtack, tried Angie's, tried Yelp, and then I found out none of those. I wouldn't recommend any of those, at least in this area personally. But then I found out about Google local service ads, like mid-April, um, and it kind of worked out well because I was worried if I found that earlier when I didn't have as many contractors or didn't have all my processes down, it might have been too much of an overload. So I'm kind of happy it worked out that I found it kind of 3 months in because it got me, my feet on the ground, got me to learn all the systems and kind of how everything works. And then I found Google local service ads, and that's kind of where everything took off from that point on.
So taking off time, how many people, how many contractors did you have working for you at that time?
At that time, I would say about 4 or 5.
Okay.
Um, so a decent amount.
Yeah, I would say 4 to 5 is decent. So if you said that your first 3 months you only had 25,000, and if under a year you had 200,000 in sales from April to December is where majority of that 200,000 came.
So the first 3 months was only 5,000 total in revenue.
Oh, 5,000 total.
Yeah,
Okay.
20. We only had like 25 bookings. It was only 5,000 in revenue, and then April, I want to say we had 9K, and then the following months we never went below 10K in revenue. And I
What do you
think
feel like? So you mentioned Google local services, but it had to be more than that because if it was just that easy, then everybody would do it. What do you feel like contributed to going from 5K months to over never going below 10K months?
I would say communication is key. Answering the phone, obviously, issues, having, texting, just being super responsive. Good customer service goes a long, long way. And then, of course, also obviously doing a good job. So always following up with your clients afterwards, asking, "Hey, how'd it go today?" And then always asking if they say, "Hey, it went great." Then asking for a review and building up, your Google profile with
Mhm.
reviews and pictures, and just the make presenting yourself the best way possible. And of course, as you guys explained in the course, having a website, booking software is super super helpful as well because a lot of majority, if you look, as you guys know, if you look at cleaning companies in a lot of different areas, probably 80 to 90% don't have a booking software, or even if you call them, they probably won't answer. So I would say
Right.
the biggest thing I would say is communication, answering the phone and being very responsive, but also having that, website where clients can book. It gives you that, built-in trust with them.
Right, something as simple as customer service. And both you and your girlfriend were working full time. So how did you handle the calls coming in or the leads coming in? Did you do it all
hmm
yourself?
Yeah. So we did it all ourselves for about the first 8 months. Like I said, we both work from home. So we had that flexibility of kind of answering the phone and being responsive, if we need be. And then kind of 8 months in, we hired virtual assistants. We kind of hired this company. It didn't really work out too well. So we kind of transitioned away from them, and about a month later, we found two virtual assistants in the Philippines, and they still work with us, and they've kind of handled the day to day now. Um, so
Okay.
So you still ran your business. You still work full time, right?
correct, yes.
So I just want to make that clear. So you and your girlfriend both worked full time jobs and you ran this business. And you had mentioned that at some point you felt like, all right, this is growing to be more than a side hustle, which is the name of our podcast. So make sure you check out the More Than a Side Hustle podcast. But at what point do you feel like, all right, this thing is now becoming its own thing? Because at some point you start to realize, all right, this is really blowing up. So at what point
Mhm.
did that hit for you?
I would say I kind of got tired of answering the phone and dealing with people and hearing all the complaints and just all that back and forth. So I just got to the point where it was getting to become too much, and I was like, I know obviously I can still do this, but we're at the point where we could hire some help and outsource this. And I've researched many other companies doing it, so I knew it was doable if you do it the right way. So I would say I got to the point where, like I said, it was becoming too much of a hassle, and it was getting to the point where I was getting, like I said, tired of dealing with people, and I was like, either I'm gonna be a bad customer service agent here, or I'm gonna need to outsource this for sure.
Now that's smart because a lot of people feel like they could keep it all in house, but you were like, listen, I'm this business. It seems like you said this business is growing. I need to get somebody in here to help me do the things that I don't like doing or the things I'm not good at.
Hmm. Definitely, and I think I'm very much like that too. I'm very like not a control freak, but everything has to be perfect. So that was a tough step. And people always say, what's the hardest part? I would say, obviously creating all the processes, learning how to run the business, but one of the hardest parts, at least, was taking everything and then trying to teach, other people how to do it. So I thought, that was super challenging, but it is super rewarding once, they pick up on it and now they handle it, like I said, the day to day. So that's kind of off my plate.
And now you have your time back.
How much? Oh,
No, I was gonna say time. That's another thing people always say. Well, how much time at the beginning? So if you can compare the amount of time you were spending on the business at the beginning versus now, what would that look like?
Hmm. Obviously, it's hard to come up with exact numbers, but just answering the phones, being responsive, and like I said, being responsive. So I could run the business kind of from my cell phone. So no matter where I was, we would be sending out quotes. We're at dinner, answering the phone, sending texts, like all day. We were open like 24/7, and then we eventually scaled back our hours. Um, but yeah, and like just being responsive. And I actually forgot what was the question again? Sorry.
How much time did you spend? If you could give an
How much?
estimate, like how much time weekly did you
Yeah,
spend
yeah.
In the beginning
in the
versus
beginning?
now.
So in the beginning, I would say maybe around 20 hours, but it kind of was just, like a lifestyle. That's kind of
Correct.
what I was getting at. Because it was just, you lose track of it because you could be doing something and then you're like, oh, you got a text. So you send that text. So I would say probably, 20 hours is what I was spending. And now I kind of spend like 2 to 3 hours a week, I would say, just paying my cleaners once a week and then handling the bookkeeping.
And that's a major gem you just said. When you first, and we say the people who start the business and do really well, like 200,000 in 1 year, we consider to be really well. We
consider everybody should consider.
Yeah, we only did like 80,000 our first year. So this is why we like telling this stuff because we aren't perfect and we never try to be perfect. But the people who do really well in this, they get in and they dive in. Like 20 hours, that's a lot to start. But we say if you're going to take this thing seriously, like you should be able to commit the time. You should be able to commit the energy into taking this to that next level. So 20 hours down to less than 5, I think, in 1 year is amazing, actually. So shout outs to you for that.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely been a long journey. And I'm definitely
A
grateful
long journey. It's been a year. It seems like a long time.
Yeah, it definitely feels longer. And it's funny because when I first started, I was just thinking if I could just do, 100K in revenue. And then it got to the point where we did that. And then we did the second 100K, I want to say, in like the last 3 or 4 months. So it's just the recurring revenue and it starts compounding for sure.
So right now, you continue to have most of your clients from Google Local Services.
Yeah, so I'm actually working with an SEO guy to kind of help me expand, outside of Google Local Services. But I would say a majority of our new clients are still coming from my Google Local Service. But like I said, I moved my My Business page to Orlando, so we're starting to get seen more and more bookings organically, because that's definitely a huge goal. But obviously we do have that recurring revenue aspect as well.
And the contractors, where are you finding them? Where did you usually find them, or where are you looking for them?
So I would say 90% on Indeed. Found almost all of them on Indeed, but I did find a couple of good ones on just posting a Craigslist post, or I'm not sure what they're called, post or ad or whatever, on Craigslist. So yeah, Craigslist I think is a hidden gem, and you can definitely find some good contractors there as well.
We always mention Craigslist, and I know people are like, and we're like, yes, Craigslist still works. It's still, there's a high return on good people on there. I don't know why, but listen. But yeah, okay. So customers, you're doing most likely Google Local Services. Contractors, you're finding them from Indeed. I had another question. I lost it. Craigslist.
Did you know about Craigslist before? Did you ever hear about Craigslist before? I know you're a little bit younger, but
Yeah. No, I had never really used it, but I definitely knew what it was.
And you would go to the website. You're like, what the hell is this outdated? No pictures, images. It literally looks like source code.
For sure, yeah, but it's definitely I think it's like $25 to post
Yep.
a post in a county. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. And like you said, you can find some hidden gems in there.
Craigslist definitely got hidden gems.
You mentioned the hardest thing for you was delegating basically the information you knew to somebody else. Is there any other challenges you would say that you faced in the business at all in the past year?
Definitely, finding good contractors. If you're gonna scale up, you need to obviously get more contractors.
Mhm.
So that's definitely a hard element. And not only finding the contractors, but actually getting them fully onboarded, getting them to get you, the insurance documents and the whole process from start to finish. Because like from start to finish, it could take a while, and you can interview someone, and then they never get you the documents, so you never hear from them again. But we ran into an issue where cleaners didn't really want to get insurance, so I started kind of because we needed the cleaners, we had the cleans coming in. The current contractors we had were kind of at capacity, so I knew if we got more contractors, the bookings are there. So I started, trying to get contractors any way I could. I even fronted them, some of them, the money for insurance. And one of them, took the money, and I never heard from her again. So then I I stopped doing that. But eventually,
I mean,
it got you get better as a business. You get better at the interview process. Now my virtual assistants handle the interview process as well. So that was a huge thing off my plate as well because that I should mention that took a lot of time. It's like 30 minutes an interview, and those interviews start to line up, and maybe 5 to 10% of them, never even end up hearing from them again. And I'd say it's funny because when we were interviewing people for the virtual assistants, we had over 200 applicants in like 4 or 5 hours. It was crazy. And we narrowed it down to about 5 interviews, and every single one of them showed up early, was on time. And this is a time difference for them as well. I think they're like 10 hours behind us or in front of us on time. They were there on time, very polite. And then you set up these interviews with the contractors, and it's like a 50-50 if they're going to show up. You can set the day up, and they still might not show up. So I found that interesting as well.
Yeah.
With your hiring of your virtual assistants, where are you finding them at mainly?
So I found them on this website called onlinejobs.ph, I believe it's called. It's like a little website where in the Philippines where you can go there and search. And like I said, we posted our job ad there, and we used to start getting email, all these applicants, and we had legitimately over 200 applicants. And I'm like, well, how are we going to narrow this down? So kind of our go at it was we messaged all of them, kind of copy and paste the same message saying, um, to officially apply, send like a 4 or 5 minute video to our email, kind of explaining why you think you'd be a good fit for this role. So this way, we're getting to see them on camera, getting to see their English, and obviously them explaining why they're a good fit for this role. And also we wanted to make sure like these were legit people because we thought it was spam. And by the next morning, we had over 100 emails of those videos, so it was incredible. Yeah.
Oh
You
wow.
literally, I want to make sure that our audience listen. You literally just ran the entire interview process for hiring your VAs, which I thought was very, very in depth. Like having them do a video is another step to weed people out. Like our hiring process for our VAs, for our virtual businesses is very similar to that. And then also for our cleaning business, our goal is not to find out the best qualified candidate. Our goal is to weed out 99% of the people, which only leaves the best people to choose from. So I found that, I find that super smart just having them send that video over.
Yeah, I mean that was the goal, was to weed out a good amount of them, and we thought there's no way we'll get that many, like 200 applicants. It actually shut, like I think the website shuts it off after it was like a certain amount of applicants, probably after 200. So our ad was shut off because we had 200 applicants. So I was like, oh, we'll probably cut it down to maybe 50, and we had over 100 emails of the videos. So I mean, it definitely helped. And then just sorting through kind of all those videos, and like I said, we narrowed it down to 5 and hired 2, and they've been with us since they started in mid-August.
And your hiring process for your contractors, has that changed at all from the beginning to where you are now?
Yes, definitely. So in the very beginning, we had contractors showing up to our apartment here in Cocoa Beach and interviewing them in person, and then transitioned into kind of Zoom calls, and
Mhm.
then it transitioned into kind of we ran a PowerPoint, and then like I mentioned, I trained my virtual assistants to kind of do the interviews now. So now they're running the interviews with the PowerPoint on Google Meets.
Oh, cool. A question I did have was pricing because that's something that comes up a lot. Are you the average price in your area? I know you said there's not many of them, but you're about to hit into the Orlando market. So are you higher? Are you average? How are you when it comes to pricing?
I would say we're probably a little above average, and I've raised the prices, a few times. We started out, I would say we were about at the average. Raised their prices once, and then once those reviews started coming in, and we had like 50 reviews, raised it a little more, and I was skeptical. I'm like, I don't know how much people are, if people are willing to pay this much. But as you guys know, you'd be surprised. People, want to pay for a good service, with good customer service and something they can trust with a great website. So I would say, yeah, like I said, a little above average.
So what you're higher than normal price averages. How do you work out the branding side of it? Because a lot of people, and we're just talking about from other students' perspectives, like how do you manage quality with a higher price point and no branding, meaning they're not wearing your clothes or anything like that, I'm assuming, right? So how do you
No.
manage the overall brand of your business being 100% remote?
hmm I would say a lot of it, is just hiring good people, and always, asking the customer for feedback. Because, like I said, we're interviewing these contractors on a Google Meet. So we're just taking their word that they can actually clean, but, giving them a chance, and then obviously following up with the customer right after, and seeing what they say. And we haven't really had too many contractors who've come and clean. Customers have constantly complained about them. Obviously, you're gonna run into customers complaining. That's just, life of business. But yeah, just I would just say, following up with customers is huge because if they do complain, you can kind of beat them to a bad review. But then also, like, as you mentioned, building your brand. If they said it went great, then sending them a link to review, and just keep building your brand up with reviews, pictures, and trying to grow your brand and your presence.
I think that's so important in regards to following with the clients because we say that. I know we mentioned that in the course to follow up with every client, and every few times we get some students like, "Well, I want to try to make it manual, and I want to not reach out to everybody." And I'm like, "It's just a different. It just hits different when there's a call, even if it's not from you, from a VA or something." From a client hearing you call to follow up and like you said to catch them before they leave a public review. It's just a game changer, something so simple back to
hmm
customer service as you've been talking about. So I
hmm
just wanted to reiterate that because people try to go around it somehow. And I'm like, no, every single client to this day, going on 6 years in the business, every single client gets at least one call. At least. It's
hmm
probably more than that we will get you.
It's
Yeah.
funny. It's funny you say that because I mentioned I'm working with a new SEO guy, and he has this website where they kind of automate the reviews. So it connects with Launch 27, and every night it will drop a text to every client saying send a review. And at that time, I had I think just at like 100 5-star reviews, nothing below 5 stars, and that was kind of what I was not worried about, but I was like, well, if this is going to automate and send to everyone, one might fall through the crack where maybe someone wasn't happy. And sure enough, I want to say like the first night or the second night we had that automated process, we got our
Yep.
first non five
Yeah.
we got our first non 5-star review. It was 2 stars, so it wasn't a 1 star. But I think as of right now, we have like 104 reviews, and that one 2 star, and the rest are 5 stars. So
That's a good point too. So how did you handle getting that 1 star review?
2 star review.
2 star review,
yeah.
excuse me. Might as well be
Um,
one at that point.
to be honest, I used to just go on other people's reviews and look at their responses and kind of just pick out their responses. Now I have ChatGPT kind of just respond to all the reviews. So I had them kind of type something up, and then I make little changes in that. But yeah, so we gave them a discount, which they complained about in the review that we didn't offer them a discount, but we did offer them a discount. So I guess that's how we kind of handled it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we, we tell people it's gonna happen. A bad review is gonna happen no matter what you do. You could be the best in the world and it's gonna happen. How you respond is what makes a difference. So.
How'd that make you feel getting that first 2-star review?
According to my SEO guy, it's actually a good thing because he says Google won't believe it if it's all 5 stars. So we still like show up as a 5.0 because the average is still 5 stars. I was just glad it wasn't a 1-star because I think if people are looking at our company and they look for the lowest review, at least he left a 2-star, so it could have been worse, I guess.
Trust me, if there's one bad review, they're still probably gonna go with your business.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we had another client who kind of went nuts and started reviewing us a bad review everywhere, Yelp, Google. So there's some out there on Yelp or Google, but Google actually took her Google review down. She had a history of just writing 1-star reviews. I looked at her page and she wrote like a 1-star review for McDonald's. So
What?
yeah, she had
gotta be a special type of person.
Yeah, so I think Google has some type of algorithm where they knew that she's just trying to either get her money back or she's not giving out accurate reviews, so they actually took down her review without me even asking. It just the next day it just wasn't there, and I was like, good, we still got our all 5-star reviews intact. So
okay. I'm trying to see if I know we had some questions come in.
So oh
no, I did have a question.
What's your average monthly revenue at this point? So you're about a little over a year right now.
So last month we had our biggest month ever, and we finished right at 44K in that month. And thank you. This month we're on pace. It's obviously a shorter month, being only 28 days. We're on pace to do a little over, I would say, 40K. So I think right now, kind of the goal I'm setting is the minimum to be 40K, if not more.
I know you said your goal for the next year is 500K. So how do you plan on?
That's this year, though.
Or this year?
That's
how do you? Yeah, that's true. So how do you plan on getting to that goal? Like, what's the next steps for? I know you mentioned expanding to other counties. What's the steps you're taking to get to that 500K goal?
Yeah, obviously I mentioned working with a new SEO guy, moving my Google My Business to kind of a bigger market in Orlando, being found more organically. And just finding more contractors and expanding to more counties and just kind of rinse and repeat. There's cleans out there to be had, and that's why I love the contractors too, because you can find contractors all over, and you can expand this all over the state. That's eventually my goal, is to keep expanding. But it is a lot of SEO. You don't want to just obviously be found on Google local service ads, which is great, but it's obviously paid leads. So being found organically is a trick, and something I need to outsource and learn, and I am learning and getting help with that.
So the question I had was, you're pretty young. How old are you, if you don't mind sharing?
26.
26. What do your friends say? What do your family say about you having this cleaning business or starting a business? Does anybody want to join you? Well, like, what are they
think
saying?
You're crazy?
Yeah, I think when I first started, they were like, okay. Like,
yeah.
Okay, like that sounds okay. Like they were skeptical. But now like all my friends are all in. They love it. We have an Instagram. They all follow it. And they're all asking me like, how do you do that? I want to do this. Like that's so cool. So yeah, they're all super supportive of it.
Okay, that's cool, because I know sometimes it's like you say, at first they're like, huh? That's how we were at first.
Has anyone asked you like, all right, how do I do this?
Yeah, all the time. They're like, if you want to expand back home in New Jersey, if you want to expand here, we could work together and do it here.
Have you considered it?
Yeah, I have, but right now I kind of like just the simplicity of just being in Florida. There's no income tax in Florida, and just having that simplicity of only having to, file one tax return, not get involved in other states. There's also no sales tax for residential cleaning in Florida, which is really nice as well, because I don't have to worry about, remitting that sales tax and sending it to the government. And that's kind of one of the reasons I haven't. People ask me, well, how come you don't do commercial cleaning or like small commercial cleaning, like restaurants? So in Florida, commercial cleaning, you do have to charge sales tax, but for residential cleaning, there is no sales tax. So I like that added simplicity as well.
Okay.
Shout outs to you, because you think about people want to start businesses. They don't even think about that aspect where you might have to pay sales tax, and in Dallas, it's like 6 to 8% sales tax. So you get that in your pocket. We have no state income tax, but they're going to tax you in other ways.
For sure.
So shout out to you for even doing that research and knowing that. So I know Janoka had mentioned like friends and family. What does your mom think about this?
At first, she was a little skeptical too, on how it was gonna work, and worried about the whole contractors versus employees thing, contractors versus employees. But yeah, now she's super supportive, and she wants me to bring it back to New Jersey too, so she can get some cleaners in the home, my home I grew up in, back in Jersey.
No, that's dope.
And do you have any plans to ever leave the CPA job, or do you think like right now you're like not at all? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Definitely, definitely. I don't, I don't love doing taxes. I don't hate it. But definitely, want to keep growing my cleaning business. I've looked at, other businesses like laundromats or other simple businesses that I think I could start. Car washes, automated car washes where, it's just self-serve and you just, drive your car through there. I want to get more involved with actually owning my own Airbnbs. I know that's a trendy topic as well, and we're in kind of where I am in Cocoa Beach. It's kind of a perfect location for short-term rentals. So yeah, definitely a goal of mine. I would say within the next year or two, hopefully, is to start more businesses along with growing, my current business, the cleaning company as well.
Do you feel like the cleaning business opened you up to more entrepreneurial things?
Definitely. I mean, it gave me that, built-in confidence. Just, doing over 200K in the first year, and just having the processes and just good, customer service, and just learning the ins and outs. I think cleaning business is a great tool for that. I think where a lot of people struggle is just getting started. Like you can talk about it all day long, but until you actually get started, put yourself out there, and it's a journey. Like we said, it might have been only been a year, but you learn so much in that year, and you evolve, over that year, and you implement new stuff as you go, learn new things. So yeah, definitely built in that confidence to me that now I kind of want to expand it, keep expanding and growing this cleaning business, but along with growing other businesses and maybe buying a laundromat or buying a car wash or buying my own property or a duplex, and living on one side and renting out the other side. And especially now that I have the cleaning team, because that's kind of the hardest part of the Airbnb, I would say too, is flipping it. So yeah, definitely want to keep expanding and growing and uh, you know acquiring more businesses and growing more businesses.
Do you get your home cleaned as well?
We actually don't. Me and my girlfriend are
Come
very
on,
clean
man. That's
people.
like the number one benefit.
Yeah, I know. We our place is kind of a small two-bedroom, so we just kind of keep it clean. So we currently do not actually get our own home cleaned.
Okay.
I had something. Oh, so you kind of briefly touched on this but for people that may be skeptical and kind of
On the fence.
on the fence and psych themselves out, what is something that you could say to them?
I would say, just have the confidence in yourself, and if you're taking y'all's course, you have the blueprint there. It clearly works. Just give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? Like I said, just the hardest part is getting started, but once you get started, it just becomes second nature. Like it just becomes instilled in you. You just do it day in and day out. Answer the phone, send texts, and obviously you got to want to do it. You got to have that drive. You got to have that determination and that hunger to get it done at the end of the day, or else you won't be successful. But like I said, I would just say getting started is the hardest part. But once get rolling into the course and learning how to build the website and getting your first customers and growing day in and day out. So yeah, I would just say get over the hump and bet on yourself, and try something new.
All righty. Do you have maybe about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes? Because we have some questions that. Do you have the time?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So we'll ask some questions that weren't answered yet. If we already answered it, we don't want him to just repeat himself. You'll have to go back and listen to what we spoke about for the past 50 minutes. So let me see if there's anything here that
How
has
do
not
you
been answered.
how do you pay your team? Is it like per job or is it hourly?
Uh, it's per job, but it could be hourly, I guess, because we do have an hourly cleaning.
Okay.
But it's percentage based. So they get a cut and we get a cut, and I pay them once a week via used to be Zelle, now it's just Cash App or Venmo.
Okay.
You're a CPA. Don't you know not to be sending money via Cash App and Zelle?
It's just
Now they have a
yeah, no, but you still have to obviously report 1099s and all that. It's
Yeah.
just the easiest way for me that I've found so far, at least. If you have a better way, have them all yours.
Did you take the course? And there's a better way.
Yeah, I know. You talking about Gusto?
Yeah, we use Gusto.
There's a better way.
We use Gusto
Yeah.
for not only our cleaning business, but our personal businesses,
Yeah.
residential, everything else we do. So we
They
get
email them
paid.
they mail them the 1099s. You don't even have to do that.
Yeah. Well, my mom's a
Oh,
CPA
your
as
mother
well. and
does
has
it.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
So you got the
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the easier way. That's what we say.
So on average, how much you think you're spending on like your marketing expenses?
So as I keep bringing up, I'm working with an SEO guy, so I just dialed back my local service ads a little
Well,
bit.
before SEO.
Well, before SEO.
Before
that's
SEO.
you're just starting, so it hasn't counted yet.
Yeah, I would say a good amount, anywhere from when at our peak, probably anywhere on local service ads, probably like 6 to 8 thousand a month.
Okay.
Just reinvesting the money. So definitely, yeah, a good chunk goes back to Google local service ads.
And that's a really good point, because we'll even do some months where we put a lot of money into it, and then we're like, all right, we got 10 reoccurring clients. Now we can kind of dial that back. So now you said you're focusing on the long-term SEO, search engine optimization.
And I would say more so figuring out the happy medium, because I know like dialing up Google local service ads is good. You will get more clients.
Mhm.
But I'm starting to learn as I dialed it back a little bit. Maybe it's more profitable, not to just load all your money into Google local service ads. So that's another one of my goals is to kind of, and I know it will with recurring revenue, is to increase my profit margin as well.
Okay. They
Mhm.
mentioned a question came up was, do you get any inspiration from friends or family?
Definitely, as I mentioned, um, I'm a competitive person, so I have friends with their own businesses. My mom has her own business. My dad had their own business. So just watching them both have their own business, I always kind of, I guess, had the entrepreneur inside me. And just I found an avenue, I guess, to show it. And it's worked so far. It's worked out really well.
Okay. I'm looking at any other questions here. It looks like we got most of them. Inspiration from family. You mentioned leads. You mentioned hiring. You mentioned you started seeing growth around month 3.
Mhm.
So no, we got all the questions answered. I guess any final words or advice or inspiration for anyone that's either started the business or stuck or
I would
didn't even
say, yeah, I would say for people that didn't even start it, bet on yourself. It seems intimidating. It sounds challenging, um, but it's super rewarding if you start it, get it going, and get it rolling, and just bet on yourself and take the chance if you're that passionate about it. Then you have that drive and that hunger, at the end of the day, you will get it done. You won't believe if you can go on your Google right now, look up your local cleaning companies, and if you call, 10 of them, I guarantee at least half of them, probably more, won't even answer the phone when they're open. So that gives you the competitive advantage right there, and then utilizing technology, and being able to text and call and being super responsive and having that booking software and having somewhere where people I think now more days some people are sketchy with paying credit cards online, but it's just a built-in security with credit cards, and having that security measure and entering your credit card and having that booking software where you can go in there, add cleanings and delete cleanings and move your cleanings around. So yeah, just answer the phones, be super responsive, and utilize technology, because a lot of the other local service companies, aren't.
Right.
No, that's super dope. And if where do you because one thing we always think about is like, all right, what were we doing last year? How our life has changed. Where do you think you would be if you didn't find us or even find, the Cleaning Business University course?
I think I would have found maybe a different side hustle. because like I said, I consider myself very driven, and so I would have found some type of a side hustle or business to start. But I'm super glad I did find you all and did take the course because, like I said, it's turned out really well.
No, man, we appreciate you tapping in. We appreciate you joining us, man. Congrats.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We look forward to you coming back when you hit that 500K for the year and tell us what you did, if you did anything differently. But we definitely just wanted to tell you thank you, give you your flowers on 200K in 1 year is outstanding, I would say.
Congrats.
And I think it goes back to, and we speak about that with the students that we see do really well. They're like all in. They go all into it. They're like, it's going to work or it's going to work. Kind of like what you said, spending the time, knowing that I have to do this, doing that and other, and being confident in yourself. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much for sharing.
Definitely. Thank you guys for having me on. And like you just said, if I could do it, working a full-time job, I think, the opportunity is there in a lot of these markets. So yeah, just bet on yourself and take a chance, and it could end up being really well for you.
Thank you. And if you guys want to tap in with the course, cleaningbusinessuniversity.com is where you can find it. We provide tons of testimonials. There's information from getting your LLC straight to getting your first client. And we have students doing it in 4 to 6 weeks. Francis just spoke about doing it within 2 to 3 months, so you can get it done and get your business up and running as well. And maybe you could be our next testimonial.
And if anyone wants to reach out to you, I know you're not active on a gram, but people may have questions. Is there any way we could support you?
Yeah, I would say Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I actually had one of your people in your community reach out to me on LinkedIn a couple of days ago. So I'd say any one of those avenues on Instagram and Twitter. I think I'm at Fran Duggan, and then LinkedIn, just my name, Francis Duggan. So yeah, if you message me, I'll definitely get back to you.
Yeah, be careful because everything that you just answered, they're gonna ask you again. So I appreciate you joining us, man, and tapping in. We'll go ahead. We'll stay on for a couple of minutes with everybody else, but we'll go ahead and let you go.
Appreciate it. Thanks you guys for having me. I had a blast.
Oh, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks again.
And the girlfriend is a keeper, by the way.
Shout out to the girlfriend, man.
Tell her I said so.
I will. She's watching right now, so she heard you.
Okay, good. All right, take care.
All right, you guys too. Bye.
Bye.
Well, yeah, I heard from Francis directly, man. We tell you guys all the time. We know that we got tons of students out there. Our students have done over $8 million in the cleaning industry. Some of them, he told you, he cleaned 3 houses, and now he's doing $40,000 a month. He doesn't clean houses anymore. So our goal is to show you guys different aspects of people doing what we say is possible. We talk about it, we show it, and we want to continue showing our students love. And continue bringing on different variations of these stories that you guys can get different nuggets and different pieces, because some people may resonate with you more than someone else. They may have a gem that you didn't think about. They may know something that we didn't mention anywhere in the course. So we are here to answer any questions you guys have, at least for a couple minutes. We got like 5 minutes or so.
About, because I'm hungry.
All right, we know you're hungry. So he mentioned his social media handles. He mentioned how to find VAs. He mentioned his policy procedures. He mentioned how he does his hiring process. So we don't want to go back and go through any questions that were already answered. The office distractions, answering our DMs. We are right here live. So any questions you have, we can answer it live. We get thousands of DMs. This is why we do these live conversations, so that we can provide support, provide help. You guys can also like the video. It would be super helpful if you threw a thumbs up. Throw a thumbs up on the video.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Subscribe to the YouTube. We will also post this on our podcast, so you guys could listen to this. This will be released on our podcast more than a side hustle. You guys could like the podcast. You guys could show love to the podcast, and the student becomes the teacher. Exactly. That's our goal. Our goal is to have our students do better than us. We only did 78,000, 86,000 our first year. Our students have done over 200,000 in their first year. Do you recommend getting your policies together first before pursuing new clients? No. Get the business going, figure it out later. That's exactly what he said. He said, I didn't know how to start it. He recommended, I did this. You guys should do this as well. So we recommend getting the business started and figuring it out later. One of our friends always says, get started, get fancy later. You're overthinking the process. You're overthinking what needs to be done. Get started today. That was literally his end advice. Get started today and figure out the rest later. So do not overthink it.
Where can you find the replay? We just mentioned that. Are you still working one-on-one at a premium rate? So you'd have to specifically DM us. We don't market one-on-one. That is a premium rate. If you would like that, go ahead and you know where to find us. Let me see. Thank you, Tabitha.
Tabitha always showing love. Appreciate you.
I need more commercial clients, but sometimes I'm overwhelmed with I would just say the office distraction. I don't know if you're in our paid community, but there are people in there that do commercial. We specifically do not do commercial. However, many people have taken the course and go on to do it. So I would say tap in with the paid community because there are people there that you can kind of bounce ideas off of.
We have over 200. We have over 200 people in the community, 250 people who are doing this all across the United States of America, maybe some in Canada at this point. We have over 250 students in our paid community. They are in there showing love. They're in there answering questions. So they are out there.
Same for you, Jacqueline. Tap into the community.
Jacqueline's in the community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely, Jacqueline. Come into the community. Drop your question tonight. Start tapping in with people in New York City. So hire virtual assistants. He mentioned that earlier. Upwork. You can use onlinejobs.ph. You could use Fiverr. You could use social media. If you type in virtual assistants, you will see people doing virtual assistants. So there's tons of ways to hire virtual assistants. He mentioned ways that he does it.
You can just Google, literally, where do I find virtual assistants? And all of these are the top websites that are there as well.
We use Online Jobs PH. We use Upwork. We use Fiverr. We use our network, and we'll hop on an IG Live. Hey, do we have any VAs in the comments? So there's tons of places you can find virtual assistants. But again, all of our resources are in Cleaning Business University. We just showed you a student who launched his cleaning business in 1 year and did over $200K. And used less than $1,000 of his own money to start his business. Like the return on investment, you make your money back. His first cleaning, he said, was $400, and they kept the entire $400 because they ended up cleaning themselves. So he ended up being able to make $400 from his first cleaning. So you guys tell me your ROI where you could put in $1,000 and make over $200,000 in less than a year without doing the manual labor yourself. Absolutely unheard of. But again, tap into Cleaning Business University. We got tons of Cleaning Business University students in the comments. They are on YouTube. They are on Instagram. Please give us a thumbs up. Janoka has to go and eat dinner. I don't see any more questions. You want to go ahead? You can go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
Are you staying on?
Yeah, I'll see if there's any more questions in here. No, there's really no more questions in here.
I'm about to say,
are you still working one-on-one? The replay will be on Instagram. Will be on YouTube. The replay will not be on Instagram because we delete these. The replay will be on our YouTube page. If you go to youtube.com/theheartceremony, first link in our bio, it is there as well. But we are signing off. Janoka's going to get dinner. Tap into Cleaning Business University. I don't know how many more times I can say this. cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. If you want to learn how to start and scale a six-figure cleaning business without cleaning any houses. Who else is hopping on Instagram Live? Who else is hopping on YouTube Live? Who else has a podcast? Who else has a community? Who else has a community where they're actively going in, answering questions every single day? Who else has a community where they're actively going in every single month doing live Q&A calls? So when we say we do this, we do this. Our students have done over $8 million in the United States. $8 million without cleaning any houses. We are teaching you guys a blueprint. We are here. You guys see us. We are real people. Our DMs may be flooded. We may not be able to answer DMs all the time, but we are here. Appreciate y'all guys. We are going to get Janoka some dinner because we got. She is out of here. Check out Cleaning Business University. Check out Cleaning Business University. If you want to learn how to start and scale a six-figure cleaning business without cleaning any houses, we are out of here. I don't know if our market is oversaturated. I do not believe in oversaturation. I believe in using the word saturation when you're scared to launch. I believe using the word saturation is a word you use when you're scared to launch, when you're scared of competition. We're in the same area. We're in Dallas, just like you. We didn't know anything about the industry. We came in and we've done 1.5 million. So I can't say I believe in oversaturation. Rihanna, she became a billionaire off of makeup and a clothing line. Rihanna became a billionaire off of makeup and a clothing line. I know you know makeup lines. I know you know tons of clothing lines. She's not sitting there saying, "Oh, this market's oversaturated." She's like, "I have a brand. I have a story. I have something to share." So she is out here. So I am out of here. You have a good night. Peace. Instagram. Peace.